Hello, friends, and welcome back to the show. I'm glad you are here with me today. This episode is special because I want to talk about something personal, something that has really helped me in my life. We live in a time where people often tell you to get big results in a short time. You hear things like, change your life in 30 days. Wake up at 5 a.m. and you will be successful. Or learn a new skill in 1 month. At first, these promises sound exciting and inspiring, but when you try to keep up with this kind of pressure, it can become too much, and you feel exhausted. I know this feeling very well. Many times in my life, I set big goals. Then, when I missed just one day, I thought, oh no, I failed again. After that, I felt guilty. I started overthinking. And I told myself that maybe I'm just not disciplined enough. For a long time, I thought there was something wrong with me. I believed that maybe I didn't have enough willpower, or maybe I lacked motivation. But later, I understood something important. The problem was not me. The problem was the method I was using. Real discipline does not have to feel like a punishment. It is not about pushing yourself to the extreme or making yourself suffer. Real discipline is about creating small, sustainable habits. Habits that you can do every day, even on the days when you feel tired, stressed, or unmotivated. That is what this episode is about. I want to share with you 5 small habits that have helped me stay consistent, even when life was messy, stressful, or unpredictable. These habits are very simple. In fact, they are so simple that you might think they are too small to make a difference. But the reason they work is because they are easy to do. And when something is easy to do, you keep doing it. And when you keep doing it, that is when real change starts to happen. While you listen to me today, I want you to think about this. What is one small thing you could do every single day, even on the days when you do not feel your best? That one small thing could be the beginning of something much bigger. The first habit I want to share is this. Make your habit so small that you cannot fail. For many years, I thought discipline meant going big. I believed that if I wanted to be consistent, I had to push myself very hard. So I made huge promises to myself. I told myself I would write for 2 hours every day. I promised I would go to the gym 5 times a week. But each time, I could not keep up with these promises. When I failed, I didn't just break my routine. I broke my trust in myself. Then one day, I heard something that changed my thinking. It was this idea. Make your habit so small that it is almost impossible to fail. At first, I didn't fully understand. But one day, instead of telling myself to write 2 pages, I told myself to just write 1 sentence. And I did it. The next day, I wrote 3 sentences. Slowly, it became part of my daily life. The same thing happened with exercise. I used to believe that if I didn't work out for at least 45 minutes, it wasn't even worth it. But when I made the habit smaller, for example, just stretching for 2 minutes, the pressure disappeared. I felt no guilt, no feeling of failure. And the interesting thing is, once I started, I often kept going. That is the secret. Action creates momentum. Making a habit smaller does not mean lowering your ambition. It means lowering the barrier, so it is easier to begin. When something feels light and easy to start, you realize you're not lazy. You were just carrying too much weight before. So, if you are struggling with consistency right now, my advice is, don't try to do more. Try to do less. Make it ridiculously easy. 1 push-up, 1 new English word, 1 deep breath before you check your phone. That is how real change begins. Once I started showing up every day, even just for a little bit, something surprising happened. I began to notice how I spoke to myself and to other people. I realized I was saying sorry all the time. even when I had done nothing wrong. Sorry I'm late. Sorry I talked too much. Sorry for asking again. I thought I was just being polite, but really I was making myself smaller. I was telling myself, and everyone around me, that I was somehow a problem or an inconvenience. Then I learned a new approach. Instead of saying sorry, say thank you. Now, instead of sorry I'm late, I say thank you for waiting. Instead of sorry for talking too much, I say thank you for listening. This small change feels so much better. It shifts my energy from guilt to gratitude. And it also makes my English sound more confident and natural. This is a tiny change, but it builds a very different mindset. It helps you respect yourself, and other people can feel that confidence from you. And the more I stopped apologizing for taking up space, the more I started to notice and appreciate the good things around me. That led to the third habit, noticing small, good moments in daily life. I remember one evening, I was walking home after a long day. I had my headphones in, and I was feeling tired. But then the sunlight hit the buildings just right, creating that soft golden glow you sometimes see in the late afternoon. It felt warm, even though the air was cool. Without thinking, I stopped walking and thought, if this isn't life, I don't know what is. Since that day, I've made it a habit to pause and appreciate moments like that. When my coffee tastes perfect. When I hear birds while waiting at a traffic light. When life feels crazy, but for a few seconds, I feel calm. I pause and say to myself, if this isn't life, I don't know what is. We live in a world that tells us that meaning only comes from big achievements. But the truth is, it's the little things that stay in your heart. The 5-second pause. The first deep breath in the morning. That song that makes you feel something deep inside. If you are trying to be more disciplined, I suggest you don't only track how many habits you complete. Also pay attention to how many moments you truly live. Because discipline is not just about doing things. It's also about feeling grounded in your own life. So here's the habit. Next time something small makes you feel good, even for just 5 seconds, pause and recognize it. Say that special line to yourself. Keep saying it until your mind learns to slow down and feel again. Because maybe this small, ordinary moment is exactly the life you've been rushing past. After I began noticing the good moments, I also began to notice something else. The things that pulled me away from that peace. And one of the biggest ones was stress. Stress can arrive so quietly. Sometimes it's a tight feeling in your chest. Sometimes it's a racing thought that you can't slow down. And just like that, the calm is gone. For a long time, I believed that stress was my enemy. I thought, why am I like this? Why can't I stay calm like other people? I believed that if I felt stress, I was doing something wrong. But then I learned an idea that completely changed the way I saw it. The problem is not always the stress itself. The problem is how we think about stress. I remember hearing about a study where students were told that their nervous energy, their fast heartbeat, and their quick breathing before a challenge was actually a good thing. They were told it was just their body getting ready to perform. And when they believed that, their performance improved. This amazed me. Since learning this, I have changed the way I talk to myself when I feel stress coming. Instead of saying, I need to calm down, I say, my body is getting ready for something important. Instead of saying, I hate this feeling, I say, this means I care. That small change in thinking is powerful. When you stop seeing stress as danger, you stop trying to run away from it. You can use it. You can channel it towards something positive. So here's the habit. When you feel stress, don't push it away immediately. Pause and reframe it. Ask yourself, what is this stress trying to tell me? Maybe it's excitement. Maybe it's growth. Or maybe it's fear that needs to be understood, not ignored. That small pause, where you choose how to respond instead of reacting right away, can change the way you handle not only stress, but many other situations in life. This pause shows up in conversations, in making difficult decisions, and in everyday moments when something bothers you. And this leads me to the fifth habit that has truly changed the way I live, learning to pause before responding. I used to react too quickly when something upset me. If someone said something I didn't like, I snapped back. If I got an email that made me angry, I would reply immediately. And almost every time, I regretted it later. I thought answering right away showed I was in control, but now I understand that real control is in the pause. Now, when something triggers me, I give myself permission to wait. I might say, "Let me get back to you." Or I simply take a deep breath and sit with the feeling for a moment. That pause doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Because when you respond instead of react, you stay aligned with the kind of person you want to be. Calm, thoughtful, and grounded. Here's the habit. Build a small gap between the moment something happens and the moment you respond. Even a few seconds is enough. That space protects your relationships, your peace, and your future self. And the best part, it's something you can train, like a muscle. Every time you choose to pause, you are building emotional discipline. And to me, that is real strength. Now, before we finish, I want to share some simple vocabulary from today's talk, so you can use it in your own English. I'll go slow so you can listen carefully and maybe repeat the words after me. First, lack. To lack something means you don't have enough of it. For example, I used to think I lacked discipline. Second, willpower. This means the inner strength to do something hard, especially when you don't feel like it. For example, she had the willpower to study every night. Third, extremes. This means the far ends, doing too much or doing too little. For example, I always jumped between extremes, all or nothing. Fourth, burnout. To burn out means to be so tired, mentally or emotionally, that you feel empty. For example, if you never rest, you'll burn out. Fifth, consistent. Being consistent means showing up again and again, even in small ways. For example, small steps every day helped me stay consistent. Sixth, unpredictable. If something is unpredictable, you cannot know what will happen next. For example, my schedule is so unpredictable lately. Seventh, doable. If something is doable, it's small enough to try and achieve. For example, reading 1 page a day feels doable. Eighth, momentum. This is the forward energy you feel after you start something. For example, once I started, I built momentum and kept going. Ninth, ridiculous. This means silly or funny, sometimes in a way that still works. For example, I made the habit so small it felt ridiculous, but it worked. 10th, guilt. This is the heavy feeling you have when you believe you've done something wrong. For example, I used to feel guilt for resting, even when I needed it. 11th, gratitude. Gratitude means feeling thankful for something. For example, saying thank you instead of sorry helped me build gratitude. 12th, creep in. When something creeps in, it enters slowly without you noticing. For example, stress would creep in without warning. 13th, push someone's buttons. This means to do or say something that makes someone upset quickly. For example, he really knows how to push my buttons when I'm tired. You can choose one of these words and try to use it in your own sentence today. You can write it, say it, or just think about it during your day. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this episode. I know this was a little more personal and reflective than usual, but I hope it gave you some peace and reminded you that small, gentle steps can create big changes.